One of the most ambitious and successful conservation stories in Canada has been the reintroduction of free-roaming plains bison to their home in Banff National Park in Alberta, Canada. After an absence of more than 150 years, in 2017, Parks Canada reintroduced 16 bison to the park, and the herd size is now more than 130 individuals in just 7 years. So a few months ago, we discussed what this project looked like, and the response to that video was incredible. But there were some big questions that came out of our first look at this project that definitely needed some further investigation. How are those original 16 individuals chosen? What about the potential for inbreeding? How are bison fitting in with other species like wolves and songbirds? And what does ongoing management of the bison look like? So make sure you stick around to the end of the video to learn more about one of Canada's monumental species reintroduction projects. To understand the significance of this reintroduction, let's take a step back in time. In the 1800s, an estimated 30 million plains bison thundered across the continent. However, by the late 1800s, overhunting for hides, meat, and sport, along with a cruel and targeted plan for deliberate extermination to control Indigenous populations, had driven the species to the brink of extinction. Tragically, plains bison were completely wiped out from Canada by 1888. The loss of this keystone species had far-reaching ecological and cultural consequences.
For Indigenous peoples from the plains, the bison is a species of great cultural and spiritual importance. Bison were the center of the plains ecosystem and central to Indigenous peoples' lives. Their rapid loss from the landscape in the 1700s destabilized all modes of life in the region and disrupted their relationships between people and nature.
But fast forward to 2017, when Parks Canada launched an ambitious project to bring plains bison back to Banff National Park. In February of that year, 16 carefully selected bison, 10 females and 6 males, were translocated from Elk Island National Park to Banff.
We've been preparing them step by step, giving them opportunities to eat the natural forage, to learn to cross the river, to go up the steep mountain slopes so that it isn't a huge shock to them when they are released.
After a period of acclimation in a soft-release pasture, these pioneers were released into a vast 1,200 kilometer squared reintroduction zone, marking the beginning of a new chapter in the story of the plains bison.
And this project really has been inspirational for Canadians and globally for all people in what we're doing. It's pretty huge. We're bringing back North America's largest land mammal to Canada's first national park.
So imagine you're building a strong and resilient team to take on a challenging mission. Just like selecting the best team members, the project team carefully chose the founding bison to ensure the herd's long-term success. They used genetic testing, like a detailed resume review, to pick bison with a wide range of unique qualities and skills, represented by what scientists call high mean allele frequency, or looking for rare and unique alleles. So think of each bison as a player on a sports team. You wouldn't want a team made up of only goalkeepers or only forwards. The key is to have a diverse set of players with different strengths that complement each other. In the same way, the team also looked for bison that were not too closely related, like avoiding picking only siblings for the team. This helps prevent inbreeding, which can lead to health issues down the line. So the team used several methods to select the ideal founding bison. They analyzed the genetic makeup of each candidate using tools like microsatellite loci analysis and pairwise relatedness measures, which you can learn about more in the description below. They also considered factors like age, sex, and reproductive status to create a balanced group. And despite some last-minute substitutions due to behavioral concerns, which slightly reduced the genetic diversity, the founding herd still represented a strong genetic foundation. Nature also had a bonus in store. some of the female bison were already pregnant, carrying calves sired by bulls from the larger Elk Island herd. When these calves were born in 2017, they brought an extra infusion of genetic diversity, like a surprise set of skills to round out the team. By carefully selecting bison with a wide array of genetic traits and minimal relatedness, the project team set the stage for a healthy, resilient herd that could adapt to future challenges. This diverse genetic foundation, achieved through a combination of scientific methods, has been key to the remarkable growth and success of the Banff Bison Reintroduction Project, with the population growing at 33% per year. And before we keep going with the video, I just want to let you all know that we're on the road to 5,000 subscribers. And if you're enjoying the video and want to learn more about conservation and environmental stories every single week, please consider hitting that subscribe button and liking the video. Now let's get back to learning all about the Bison Reintroduction Project.
If we look at our long history on this great island, we can see the very vital role that the buffalo played in supporting our way of life. In the past, the buffalo had provided us with many essential things: teepee coverings, clothing, moccasins, and blanket robes from their hides, tools, knives, and spears from their bones, medicine from certain other parts.
So the Bison Reintroduction Project is not only an ecological triumph, but also a powerful example of collaboration and reconciliation with Indigenous peoples.
The Stoney Nakoda people have been in the Rocky Mountains since time immemorial. But when the Banff National Park was created, we were removed in the interest of game conservation for hunting, tourism, and the civilization of Indigenous people. Bringing the bison back to Minerpa-Makoche is an opportunity for Parks Canada and the Stoney Nakoda nations to meaningfully work together, respect both Indigenous and non-Indigenous ways of knowing, and to demonstrate reconciliation in a meaningful way.
The Indigenous Advisory Circle, representing Treaty 7 First Nations and the Métis Nation, plays a vital role in co-managing the herd, bringing together traditional ecological knowledge and Western science in a beautiful braiding of knowledge.
The Stoney Nakoda people offer a way to co-manage the lands that we refer to as biculturalism. By bringing together Western science and traditional knowledge, we can create a shared space for holistic understanding that benefits from the knowledge of both perspectives.
And the Stoney Nakoda First Nation in particular has been conducting cultural monitoring to understand the impact of bison on their traditional lands. Indigenous-led ceremonies have been held to ensure the safety and success of the reintroduction, reconnecting the people with the land and the bison in a really profound way.
Cultural monitoring is an Indigenous method to study herd dynamics and impacts on the ecosystem, and a way to renew Stoney Nakoda connections to the land.
And in a historic moment in October of 2024, the first Indigenous cultural hunt of bison took place in Banff National Park in over 150 years. Each member of the Indigenous Advisory Circle was allocated one bison for this monumentous occasion, marking a significant step in cultural reclamation and healing.
I felt in touch with nature out there. No other mankind except for us, following in the footsteps of the old ancestors and the buffalo. They were following in their ancestors' footsteps too.
So as a keystone species, bison play a crucial role in shaping the ecosystem. Their grazing, wallowing, and nutrient distribution create a mosaic of habitats that support a wide range of plants and animals. Bison grazing patterns help maintain vibrant grasslands and meadows, while their shed hair provides nesting materials for birds.
We know that bison were an integral part of this landscape. They played an important role in the whole food web and affected all kinds of other species, from fish to amphibians to songbirds to predators like wolves and bears.
Songbirds in particular have benefited from the return of bison. Studies have shown that areas grazed by bison have higher densities and diversity of grassland songbirds compared to ungrazed areas. The mosaic of short and tall grasses created by bison grazing provides ideal habitat for species like the savanna sparrow and Baird sparrow. The reintroduction of bison to Banff is expected to have a positive ripple effect on these and other grassland bird species.
Bison can benefit birds in a number of different ways. We have seen ravens carrying bison hair. Their hair can be a really important source of nesting material. We've also seen the cowbirds riding on the backs of bison where they're plucking insects deep within their hair.
And bison dung alone supports an astonishing diversity of insects, including the essential dung beetle. The return of bison has also sparked interest in other iconic species, like the wolf. In 2020 and 2021, 2 bison calves fell prey to wolves, marking the beginning of a renewed predator-prey relationship that has been absent for over a century. So as wolves relearn how to hunt bison, this ancient dance of life and death will continue to shape the ecosystem in profound ways. But there needs to be more data and observation over time to truly understand what this relationship will look like and how prevalent the predation of wolves on bison will actually be.
And we collected several years of data before the bison arrived, so we have comparison. And the goal in 5 years will be to look at that and say, okay, is this having a positive effect on the other ecosystems? And is it viable to keep a wild bison in Banff in the long term?
So as the bison herd continues to grow and thrive, Parks Canada is developing a long-term management plan to ensure their success. This includes exploring potential range expansions both within and beyond the park boundaries, as well as possible trans-boundary management with the province of Alberta. Currently, bison are managed using fencing to keep them in their 1,200 kilometer squared area, and with park rangers moving the herd as needed.
We have a team of technicians, often referred to as the bison stewards, who go out and work in the backcountry on multi-day shifts and monitor the bison for us. And so either by doing a heli flight periodically, but also getting out on the land, whether it's ski touring or riding on horseback or hiking.
While the current herd is still relatively small, experts believe that a population of around 1,000 bison would provide the long-term resilience needed to withstand threats such as climate change, disease outbreaks, and inbreeding. Reaching this ambitious target will require ongoing collaboration, adaptive management, and a shared vision for what the future of Plains bison looks like in the region. The Banff Bison Reintroduction Project is a shining example of what can be achieved when science, Indigenous knowledge, and passionate individuals come together to right a historical and monumental wrong. By bringing the Plains bison back to Banff, we're not only returning an iconic species to its rightful place, but also paving the way for a more sustainable, inclusive, and vibrant future for all. If you want to learn more about this project, check the links in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.